All right, y'all. So today we have a customer's power washer, pressure washer, here to be repaired. Customer stated that they were using the unit under normal pressure, normal conditions, and they heard a pop sound and suddenly lost pressure. So I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is. That needs to be replaced, so we're probably going to take that one off. But I wanted to take you guys through my troubleshooting and diagnostic. You guys seem to have liked that a lot on the generator video that I did, so let's get into it. First thing I'm going to check on one of these units is going to be this little screen right here. So there is a strainer. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. There's a strainer, a little wire basket strainer that goes in that inlet. I'm going to encourage you guys not to put this in this direction with the cone going into the middle of the flow line. The reason is there's a pretty small line opening right there that just about matches the OD. So the ID of that tube, inside diameter of that tube, just about matches the OD of this. So this little screen inserts into there. Problem is, when you put it in this direction, all of the trash accumulates in the center. Put it in this direction with the cone facing out. That way when the debris hits, before it goes into the pump, the debris hits and travels to the outside, keeping the ID, the center of that strainer, clear. So this one was dirty, probably the reason why the pump got tore up, but that's my first thing that I check for. You guys do want to run a strainer like this on something like this, because any trash that gets sucked up in that pump is probably going to destroy the impeller as well. So after that, go to the hose. Make sure the hose has got good flow just by blowing it. All right, so that's got good flow. Not our problem. Next, we're going to check our tip, right? This tip was actually clogged with some gunk. I did clean it out. You can get little jet cleaning file kits off of Amazon, but make sure that your nozzle is clean. Next, we're going to check our gun. We're going to tear our gun down, make sure that this tube is not blocked, and make sure that you have airflow through the gun itself when you actuate the valve. Okay, you can see as I do that, water starts to run out, so we know the gun is functioning and the tube is functioning. All right, so at that point, I'm going to go ahead and get the system ready to run. I'm going to start it, hook a water hose to this, and I'm going to see how good a flow we have out of our outlet here. If you're not shooting a 20-30 foot jet of water out, chances are your pump is probably shot. So in this case, we started this with nothing attached to it. Go ahead and turn the water on, and we had about a 15-foot stream, and it was more misty than it was a spray. So I knew at that point the pump was probably bad. So that's my diagnostics for one of these. We're gonna get the camera repositioned so you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna take this pump off and replace it. All right, so I've loosened up these bolts, but they are a 10 on the bolt side. On this end, they're 10 mil. On the top side, it's a flange nut, 13 mil. Somebody asked me why I'm doing these videos, and I wanted to address that question while I'm working on this. And the reason that I'm doing these videos is so that you guys can learn to do stuff like this for yourself. I grew up, majority of my life, raised by my mom and my grandma, and who, yeah, actually my grandma is one of my heroes. I grew up raised by women, and so often today I hear women talking about how they can't do stuff, and I think that that is a lie that is perpetuated in our society. And I think it's from girls not hearing and being taught that they are strong and they are capable. So yeah, this is a lot of the reason why I'm doing it. So you guys can fix stuff yourself and save that money, put that money towards bettering the quality of your life or your family's life. And so that maybe a woman trying to do it on her own finds these videos and, you know, is able to take care of it on her own. So we're gonna pull this pump off, just give it a wiggle. It's gonna fall off. There we go, like that. So what you're trying to overcome with the wiggle is you're loosening up this keyway right here. So there's a little piece of bar stock, square bar stock, that fits into a groove. I'll show you that in a second. So it fits into this groove right here. That groove corresponds to a groove on the output shaft of the motor, which I'll show you guys what that looks like. So there is a corresponding groove right there on that shaft, and that key locks the two shafts together. Once they're mated, it keeps the shafts from slipping. So that key fits into both of those shafts and keeps them from separating. The reason they do not separate like this is because that pump is bolted in place. So once you get all that situated, once it's bolted down, it's pretty, pretty tight together, not going to move. So don't forget to put that keyway back in. All right, so as I was discussing earlier, you can see the direction of this pre-installed strainer. See how it's facing out that way? So as any trash in the line flows in, it's going to go to the outside of that strainer and not block the middle flow. So we're going to put this on. I'm going to pull the dipstick for the oil. Just get a little oil on my finger. I'm going to lubricate the shaft. I know, that's what she said. Okay, so we have some oil lubricant on the shaft side, output shaft of the motor. We're going to put some inside the pump housing, or the input shaft opening on the pump. That way things go together nice and smooth, no issues. All right, there we go. So that's nice and slippery. All right. So I'm going to insert my keyway in there carefully. Put these two pieces together. The shaft is tight enough that it'll hold the keyway in place if you need it to. see them go together. I do not feel the keyway sticking out of the top, so that's good. I'm going to situate. Our pump. Put something underneath it to hold it while I get the bolts. Right. We actually need longer bolts. Let's go look in our box. I'm pretty sure we got a hardware kit. All right, so yes, indeed, we got new bolts. The feet, or the pads right here on this one are more shallow than the ones on the new pump. So in comes longer hardware. Perfect. All right. Actually, instead of using this flange nut, we're going to go back with a different style of hardware for this specific application. We're going to go with something called a nylock nut. So you can barely see it, but there's a nylon ring inside there. And what that nylon ring does is, once it's in place, the nylon keeps this nut from backing off by itself, where these will vibrate right off, which they didn't, but just being abundantly cautious, we're going to go ahead and use the nylock nuts. The washer on that side. So the new bolts have a 6mm Allen head. And the top bolts are still 13 mil. All right, so our new pump is installed, bolted down, snug, everything looks good. All right, time to test it. All right, so you can see that flower bed right there, about 30 feet from where we are right now. So we got really good flow. Before we tore that pump out and replaced it, we weren't even getting half of that. All right, so we've got our hose and our wand, our gun hooked up. We're gonna fire this bad boy up and see if we can get a rooster tail. All right, guys, so there you have it. You guys saw that amazing rooster tail this thing shot out. I may adjust the linkage a little bit to get this thing to idle up some so that we're not bogging as far down when that pump engages. But otherwise, we have a functioning unit now. We're going to call the customer, let them know it's ready to go, see if we can drop it off and get paid. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment, let me know if y'all like it, and we'll see y'all on the next one.